After hours of a grueling climb past 16 gym leaders, we can finally finish this leg of our journey with one of the quintessential boss fights in Pokemon's history, Red. Whoever we bring to the fight against his titans will forever retire, never joining me and the rest of my Nuzlockes through the full series. I'm getting ahead of myself again. Not wanting Generation 1 of Pokemon to be a lightning in a bottle situation, Nintendo and Game Freak decided to be more proactive than getting another bottle and standing in a storm, and made the follow-ups of Pokemon Gold, Silver, and eventually Crystal. Already, a myriad of improvements and features core to Pokemon originated in this game. Time of day changes, breeding, even shinies came from this game. I've been playing through each of these games in sequence as part of one grand Nuzlocke, where the team I bring through the champion, or Final Challenge equivalent, can't be used again through any game in the full series. One of the first Pokemon I champed in such a way was Charizard, which means I'll never be able to take Charmander as a starter again, to name just one example from that original crew. There are a lot of familiar faces in Johto. Some we'll just have to walk past with a grateful nod as we encounter whole new teams in opposition. I'm Kurosugi, I'm in Alright Nuzlocker, citation needed, and welcome back to Full Series. Last time we managed to cut through all 4 Generation 1 games. Yes, including Green, no I'm not over it, and this time we're breaking into Generation 2 in the Game Boy Color. Thankfully no secret 4th run this time. Frankly, it's a bit of a miracle that Pokemon did as well as it did, especially considering it looked like that. Generation 2 introduces a lovely, colorful art style that makes each Pokemon pop onto the Game Boy Color, especially with animated sprites in Crystal. It's not the only new addition, exclusive to Crystal. We also get route name pop-ups and finally a chance to play as a girl. I was so excited by this, I completely ruined the joke I had planned for 3 games of naming myself Crowstol and just named myself Crow-O. For the other games, I went with Crow-U and Crowzic, eventually. To start our journeys, I decided to experience the best starters I could and took Chikorita, Cyndaquil, and Chikorita again. Sorry Totodile, there's a reason you're not here I'll go into later. The start of a run is always a little awkward, either from the growing pains of a new series or the fact that my dark magic, as we call it around here, that disables random encounters meant I couldn't jump down ledges. Oh, it's a really bad code. Another spell I used in my first attempt of gold completely overwrote a key item you need for the first quest in the game. In the next reality and the ones that followed, I made sure to grind like in the good old days before giving myself enough candies to bankrupt the Halloween store. You really have to be careful not to get your levels too high too quickly though. As is standard in hardcore Nuzlocks, among other rules, we're adhering to level caps so that our Pokemon aren't vastly stronger than the next gym leader's ace Pokemon. Faulkner, the first of many, must have used a bit of dark magic himself, since he's got a Pidgeotto as his ace that's only level 9. Trying to fit in all the fights in Sprout Tower, the mandatory gym trainers, and even your first rival battle makes it a pretty tight fit, but we managed to squeeze by just fine on my first run through of Gold. Silver, not as much. Eventually I realized that you can delay Sprout Tower until after the gym, something that also saves several minutes whenever you're getting runbacks to some nobody's bird. You know, we should get one of our own. Generation 2 introduces a day-night cycle, which affects the palette of the areas you travel through as well as what Pokemon you can encounter. Different times of the day means different catches, so it's useful to change your clock around a lot in order to do so. Unfortunately, it's not exactly easy. Trying to do the fucking trigonometry bullshit this game wants you to do to actually change the clock. Yeah, you need a combination of your trainer ID, money earned, name, most recent prescription, zodiac sign, subscriber count, and a few other things to generate a password access practically by doing a fighting game input on the title screen. Oh, right, it's different in this game. Okay. Press and hold select and down. Also press and hold B. Let go of down, let go of B. Press and hold left and up. Let go of select. Holy shit. Thankfully, there are tools online that generate this for you, but I guess kids back in the day must have either had to call a Nintendo helpline or tried to find a magician in a Blockbuster whenever daylight savings time rolled around. Additionally, since some of our first champions were Pokemon like Victreebel and Graveler back in Generation 1, both of whom have early encounters here, we tend to lose a lot of variety and even catch opportunities until later in the run. Even still, we can catch things like our own Spearow, Pidgey, and Caterpie. Oh my god, I'm back in Gen 1! On occasion, we do get to see some new friends, like the always welcome Furret and its famous walk, or the much better pure ground type than Sandslash, Fanapy. Last stop before the gym are the Ruins of Alph, where we can collect one of the most encounters ever. 26 forms for one Pokemon, and they're all kind of baloney, but hey, Unknown Sea took 2 frags in Faulkner's gym, so that's something. Yeah, Faulkner goes off about having his dad's Pokemon, and I can see why, but his trainers are demons too. They're at the level cap, and especially if you take Chikorita, you don't really have much to counter them. So, multiple attempts later, we eventually make it to Faulkner himself. Pretty much every run except my first clear of gold, some fucking how. I ended up having to sacrifice at least one to the Blood God Faulkner to let my run continue. Successful end screen afterwards looks like this for reference. At the very least, he has to give us some sort of insane TM for our triumph, right? Some Pokemon take a while to even get wing attack, so even that would be amazing. He gives us Mudslap. At the very least, with Faulkner down, we can free ourselves from the Candy Curse. We get the Old Rod and can use that to get the 2 encounters accessible in town so far, Magikarp and apparently the almost non-existent Poliwag. After getting those 2, the Old Rod is practically useless, so we turn it into infinite Candy Canes instead. The next route towards progress is the first place we can encounter one of my favorites, Wooper. 99% of the time we don't. Mareep is still pretty good, but getting a Zubat here is unfortunately possible as well. We always want to get a Zubat to help in counter routing in the dark tunnel near here, but there are a lot of places we can pull it from later that would be much preferred. Hey, since we can catch Zubat here, this actually means we can almost guarantee a Dunsparce in that cave. It's a really rare encounter, so I eventually used time travel trigonometry to accept the possibility of a Teddiursa instead, who's also only 5% and rather rare, but after a few balls, it fled. Wild Pokemon in this game can flee? Like the somewhat rare teleporting Abra, oh don't worry, that's still in this game, but certain Pokemon can outright leave if you fail to catch them in as few as 1 ball, including the 5% Teddiursa that I ran in circles for 10 minutes trying to find. Look, I'll be completely upfront, I kinda fucking hate Gen 2, but it has a lot of great features that we hadn't seen before, like genders. I've only caught girls this run. I hate every time I play Gen 2, it makes me sexist. Okay, bad example since they programmed female Pokemon to have worse stats, literally, but at the very least, it was a learning process, right? We saw gender different stats as a mistake, so we stopped doing it. We saw rare Pokemon playing as a giant mistake, so we stopped doing it. For a while, at least. Anyway, I'm super off track. Apologies. Here's Team Rocket dealt with and Bugsy swept. Gym leaders in this game yo-yo wildly from why do you have this is hell to why do you have this is garbage. Quagsire looks like you just punched it in the stomach. I'd say that there are 3 challenging gym leaders throughout Johto, with the next one being our next encounter, Whitney. Not only is she the first gym leader to use a Pokemon actually from Johto, she also has a Clefairy. Hey, wow, even her gym apparently looks like one. Sorry, I felt like I had to introduce that because this thing never sticks around long enough to be a problem. Anyway, gender comes back to haunt us once more, as Miltank is known for setting up a tract and completely disabling whole teams, especially if its body slam paralyzes you as well. On top of having considerable bulk and a way to heal itself, it's no surprise this cow got the reputation she did. That all being said, matching her on level means you don't have to put up with too much trouble and eventually pull through. Thanks to the fact she's situated in Goldenrod, that also means we gain access to a bunch of really quality items and infinite TMs for the elemental punches, headbutt, and more. Additionally, south of Goldenrod is where another of Pokemon's tried and tested mechanics first showed up. Breeding. Relax. In Crystal, you can even get an encounter known as the Odd Egg. The daycare attendants will give you an egg that hatches randomly into one of the generation's baby Pokemon. On top of that, the egg has drastically higher odds of being shiny, as high as 1 in 64. Try as I might to ride back and forth to hatch this thing, I never got the egg to crack. So after doing a bit more research, I discovered that I managed to get the 1 in 64 chance of pulling a shiny on a previous Champion's Prevolution. Great. After making an omelet, don't forget to pick up your progression mandatory watering can, which, of course, you can only be strong enough to hold after acquiring 3 gym badges, Generation 2, and moving further north. Now that our level cap is all the way up to 25, it makes sense that the trainers around here have equally tough Pokemon, like this juggler, whose lead is a level 2 Voltorb. I don't care about your ball dexterity, dude. But I'm not dangerous, dude. The first thing you did was tell me about your ball dexterity. That's dangerous. I guess if these were the trainers the Squirt Lady was used to, it makes sense to not give out her tools to just anybody. God, what were they thinking with Generation 2? Oh. Wow. Yeah, sorry. Got a little lost there for a second. I neglected to mention the music in Generation 1, but it did have some classic tracks that shaped the series as a whole. Generation 2 introduces even more beautiful tracks, wonderful in all their forms. Violet City's music is classic as well, forgot to mention it there. National Park's music is astounding, even in its original version. But the remade version in Heart Gold and Soul Silver... Man. Now, who's ready to catch some bugs? With a bit more time travel trigonometry, we can make sure we get to the park on Thursdays, where they're keen on hosting the bug catching competition. Unlike the park normally, even rarer Pokemon have a shot at showing up. We've already duped at a couple, both with our previous champions and what we've likely caught up to this point, so... Scyther. God damn it. Another side effect of the bug contest is that, somehow, this is the only way to acquire a Sunstone in all of Generation 2. You need to get first. So if you end up catching a Sunkern later on, sorry, hope you got good RNG for your catch. That thing's not coming to any fights otherwise. It's obvious these games weren't made for challenges like this, but still, getting any of the evolutionary stones in these games is a pain. Certain trainer rematches will sometimes give the evolutionary stones, and either that or good mom RNG are the only ways of getting a lot of them pre-Kanto. I did that, right? I definitely went to go and get those stones. On an unrelated note, let's look at Silver's intro again. Well, I sure am glad that we went and did all that grinding already. Whew, that would have been annoying. Anyway, winning it or not, we eventually have to nickname everybody. Oh, right, nicknames. You know who's full of bugs?
It's Riku! They put bugs in him!
While naming dozens of Pokemon in a run, I always love to stick to a theme of some sort. Sure, naming some on the spot is how I receive some personal favorite names like Blackjack and, Donieri. It can also lead to me learning new things like discovering that bonsai skydiving is a sport. Up in Crystal, I simply named everybody after professions. Chef, Scout, I'm over-explaining that concept. In Silver, I named after... oh, hang on. After what song I listened to at that moment, like Valentine and Fractal. What's weird is that I thought I used a different theme for it, but in Gold, I decided to name them after similar characters in media. Some translated one-to-one, like Arachne, Raster, Tony Hawk, but one had to stretch a bit. Originally, I thought I named my coughing Ashley because of Resident Evil 4, but then I realized that I named her after Mass Effect's Ashley. Because she exploded. Soon enough, we make our way to Ecruteak, one of the most significant cities in Johto. Not only does it house the Burn Tower and Dance Hall where you beat up a bunch of dogs to get the Surf HM, but it also houses the Ghost Gym. In Crystal, we actually need to visit the Burn Tower and deal with a couple more trainers before we can handle it. That's just kinda how Sandslash exists. Eventually, we can properly handle the gym and oh, it's over. Ecruteak is also the town where I utilized Headbutt for the first time. Or at least, tried to. Once again, this is another mechanic that never tells you how to solve it and requires some trigonometry. Thankfully, there's another online resource you can use to show the exact trees you need to headbutt to get any encounters. Oh, and just because there are headbutt trees doesn't mean you can actually get any encounters at all. The headbutt trees are a fucking lie. They don't work until Gen 4. Why have them? Fuck this game. Gen 2. As if that didn't cause enough issues, there's a trainer on the next route who will encounter you and block the way, forcing you to either reload the area or go through the grass anyway. Gen 2 is just annoying. A few more solid encounters later, we make it to Olivine. At this point, I know the next fishing rod is somewhere in town, but not where, so I go soliciting every person in town for the information. Thank goodness I did, because this is also how you acquire the Strength HM. You know, the item mandatory to progress through the next gym. There are 4 deserted islands. Bad kids are taken to the islands as punishment. What the fuck is wrong with this game? More time travel trigonometry to get some encounters before making our way towards Cyanwood City. In Silver, I knew you could catch a Mantine here since I'd done it in Gold. Yet, after swimming around for what would have been in-game hours, I eventually looked it up. So Mantine is a Gold exclusive. That's... oops, I made a mistake. The Silver exclusive is a lower level Tentacool. We get one again in Crystal at least. Hi, Pilot. I think it's time for the mid-game learn set check. Brother, learn moves! Please! Wow, Sandslash learns a ground-type move this generation. It's Sand! Learn sets be damned, the only move you need to defeat Chuck is Strength, and that's only because he's surrounded by boulders. After taking him down with ease, his wife also gives us a fly HM. Quote, because he's getting too chubby. Damn. Time to fly back towards Ecruteak and make the trek over to Mahogany Town. Much as it'd be nice if we could just challenge the gym or even leave town, we need to head north to one of the most famous locations in the game. Lake of Rage. Everybody knows about the legendary Red Gyarados. It's most people's first shiny Pokemon. It was mine. So, in a cosmic sort of way, this is also Duplicate Claws? There are better things to get here than an oversized red worm, but it does require a bit more trigonometry. No, not time travel this time, just figuring out the f***ass headbutt trees. A tree can have either no encounters, common encounters, or rare spawns that we actually want. Sometimes it's none of them, very cool. Other times, they can still run. Bye Heracross, see you in Generation 4 when you have an actual learn set. Yeah, you can be armed. Oh. Your best friend Jippy. You can be Jippy. Perfect. Of course, for the girl with no arms, we get a song called Armed Man. With the Lake of Rage quelled, that means we've officially entered... Oh, wait, no, we've entered the slog. I don't want to be here. You don't want to be here. You know what? Fuck it. It's my video. I'm gonna save this 2 collective hours of gameplay across 3 games and speedrun from here until Claire's gym, just reading off of my recap notes. Yep, I've now technically had to see this section over half a dozen times, and I'm not making you suffer like I have. Dragonite Hyper Beam. That's the best part of Gen 2. This part of the game is so lemonade. The swine no grando, fire punch yo, lightning or punch. Oh my god, that was it. This gen sucks. Followed immediately by 1 Rattata mark. Yeah, switch puzzle with doors changing off screen. This sucks. Eric Ross fled my fucking white whale. Wow, I sat here in befuddlement for over a minute and gaslit myself into having killed it. Ooh, rock smash that saves you 2 seconds to get never melt ice. This game fucking sucks. Fail to catch coughing and rocket snooze out. Fail to catch Heracross after 80,000 great balls. I caught him a chop named Malware at some point. Thunder Punch Prize, Earthquake Jasmine. Back to Team Rocket. Hope you enjoy the gym fights. Stop at the radio quiz on your way out, otherwise you can't progress through Kanto. Do some legitimate berry farming with a quick trip to France. Oh yeah, this game added held items, by the way. Oh, watch this. This guy's gonna turn into something that doesn't have any good ground moves. Rowlith learns Flamethrower at 50. Blow me. Wow. Sandslash sweeps Jazz. Just kidding. Tentacruel takes out the actual threat. Radio broadcast. Woo! We're out of PP on Sandslash because Mudslap has 10 PP. The admins combined take about 40 HP off my cow. Time travel trigonometry. And now we're at Claire. She boasts some mastery over Dragon-type Pokemon and wields a scary one, Kingdra. Most of her others can be taken out without issue, her 3 Dragonairs, by the way. But without a plan to handle Kingdra, it can paralyze, make it impossible to hit, or just pump out crazy amounts of damage. I usually ended up switching between a Tentacruel with crazy high special defense to bait Hyper Beam, and something more physically defensive to retaliate with some damage and bait Surf or Dragon Breath. One time she even managed to crit Hyper Beam on my starter thanks to this strategy, but Manjima's poison eventually won out. Despite showing clear mastery ourselves, she's, perhaps rightfully, a bit steamed in our win. He's like, alright, that was some cheese bullshit. Go do my 7 evil X's. We have to prove ourselves in a multiple choice questionnaire she has continuously failed at, where one of the options measuring your honor is cheating. At the very least, we can catch a dragon of our own and, yep, not even surprised at this point. 8 badges in hand, time for the part of the game everybody knows. One of the hardest challenges in the game. Trying to find the fucking Elite Four. Where the hell am I? Perhaps some more online resources can help. The Elite Four battle is misleading. You actually have to fight 5. Oh my god. Where is it? Dude, first time in the Kanto. I'm sorry, he didn't deserve that. He's excited for me. Would you believe me if I told you I had 3 opportunities to catch a Quagsire across the series and it fled every single time? No? Good, because here's proof that it happened 4 times. Don't do it. Leech Seed, don't do it. You fucking bastard. Don't you fucking run. Oh my god, I hate this generation. Oh, okay. I'm alright. Just a little frothy. Quagsire. Okay, chill. Don't run. You fucking cunt! Where do you get the fucking Master Ball in this game? I'm gonna have to throw one at a goddamn Quagsire. After fighting the one trainer in all of Victory Road, the rival, who also makes his final appearance here, by Silver, Shreverny, and Argent, we make it to the Elite Four itself. If you watched the first video, you know the Elite Four is a huge moment for full series. Oh my god, that's supposed to be an Abra. It yearns for death. In Generation 2, though, our goal is red, so the team we bring through here isn't too big of a deal. Unfortunately, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. You cut off the run after the Elite Four, you have the greatest challenge and an at least somewhat truncated experience. In doing so, however, you miss out on a lot of new Pokemon that can only be accessed in Kanto, including most of Gen 2's decks. Going all the way to red, on top of having to do about an hour and a half of rigmarole with very little challenge throughout, also leads to a significantly easier final fight than a standard champion would bring. Ultimately, I opted to go the red route since I wanted to see more of what the game had to offer, but I'll make up for having an easier time here in a future video. For now, let's just see the Elite Fours and why is only one video playing? Watch this sweep while I explain. Basically, when playing through this game, I always split my playthroughs up into 2 days. one to make it to the Elite Four, and a second to beat them and go to Red post-Johto. For every playthrough except Silver, the footage from my second day got corrupted, lost, or simply didn't record to begin with. I'm relieved that I still have some footage of the post-game, but I've tried everything to recover and simply cannot. Unfortunately, this also includes footage of me wiping in the Elite Four in my first gold run, the only one that I have footage for. Yep, the Team in my gold sheet doesn't make one appearance in this video. God fucking damn it. Well, I guess I still caught a Venonat and eventually champed it, so hi Riku. Oh, and I used Totodile on my gold revisit, hence why it's not in any other team. Again, super sorry about this. I'll do my best to talk about the red fights and other runs when we get there. For now, just enjoy Silver's border color while Alakazam continues to sweep this group. You can catch this Aber at the game corner guaranteed every playthrough, and though it takes a bit of patent and dark magic to make it evolve fully, it handles the fights with ease, with, just a bit of help. Oh shit. When did oh. Fucking dumbass champion. Credits roll, but we're only 70% of the way through the playthrough. What? Yes, because Generation 2 is the game that never ends, we don't simply gain access to the final battle. No, of course not. We need to fight a series of 8 additional gym leaders, which honestly is pretty cool in a vacuum, but it was not handled as well as it could have been in this game. Credit where it's due, this is a lot of additional content, but it's not great. Aside from unlocking the other half of the missing Pokedex, the game speed slows to a crawl. Even in a casual playthrough, you can be expected to have reached Kanto with at least one level 50, maybe even a stronger legendary. So why does finding Misty on step 3 of an annoying quest taking you halfway around Kanto and involve fighting level 29 Pokemon? Mob, your time to shine, buddy. Oh, not anymore. Right, yeah, second game of the series and all that, still trying to find our footing, yada yada. What the hell is a level cap? Is it 58 because that's what Blue's team is? Or does it fall below 40 again because, yeah, why not? Why can I only return to Johto on a Sunday? So I could use more time travel trigonometry, baby. On top of it all, I hope you did grab the radio signal in the tower, otherwise you have to wait upwards of a week to wake up a Snorlax and progress through the region. Might as well use your Master Ball since this thing is impossible to catch for some reason. Hope you figured out the 3 specific trainers on a boat full of NPCs that you needed to fight to progress to Kanto in the first place. Might as well unwind in the Safari Zone. You actually need cut to access it now, and by access it, I of course mean look at these cemented up doors. What kind of fucked up joke is this? Okay, I had to get that out of my system. I'm cool. I played fast and loose to get through Kanto again and again, but my first time figuring out the order of operations probably meant I spent about 4 hours here my first time, then 2.5 hours the other times. Not only running around and fighting underlevel gym leaders, but catching an entire game's worth of encounters. I don't know what the mons in Kanto are on, dude. Sure, Snorlax is hard to catch, Chansey is notoriously difficult, but even catching a level 3 Lediba, yeah, good luck grinding on Cartridge by the way, refuses to be caught in an Ultra Ball while paralyzed. Okay, really done ranting for actual realsies this time. Let's go to Mount Silver and finally take on Red. Nope! Talk to Professor Oak arbitrarily and then gain access to the mountain. Just like Victory Road, Mount Silver only has one trainer we need to worry about. Thanks to that, we can at least bring a bunch of wacky guys who otherwise wouldn't shine much. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Unknown K. I didn't mean you. Unfortunately, I made a slight mistake going through Gold, aside from forgetting to record it, and champed way too many Pokemon from Generation 1. So, to remedy that, I made sure my Silver and Crystal teams were exclusively later generation Pokemon. We go to Kanto a lot, and getting later generation teams should almost always take priority, unless I can get a powerful dude, like Venomoth. Like I said, without doing that, I wouldn't have guaranteed Big P, twice in my bug catching contests. At long last, we're nearly finished. It's been a while, but I'll even try and recount what the battles of the games I don't have footage for were like. Anyway, the wind is howling and I'm seeing red the longer I'm this high up. Let's finish this damn generation already. Here we go! Alright, Shoebody, do what you came here for. Eat that rat up. Let's go, Broccoli, you can... What the fuck is this? At least I found some footage? Oh, this footage got really corrupted. Whatever, Acrobat, blast him! Fire Sword, use your Holy Blade and smite the Venusaur in the sun. The Charizard, too! Oh, God. Trample on Oyster. Give it a bedtime story, storyteller. Superheroes, save the day. Burn them to a crisp, fireman. Bring out the shears, gardener. Not what I meant. Give him the silent treatment. Okay, this definitely isn't the right matchup, but it's all I had left in the storyboard. This was probably overkill. To the dawn. It's an RPG, alright, and your role is the victim. I also used an Electabuzz and definitely remembered to record its segment. Rain boosted surf.
Believe it or not, Unknown dies.
Oh yeah, just gonna set up the sun so I can store with me. Welcome to the real world. The berry actually saved Pilot. Oh my god, we win. Wait, is this 2 videos in a row that end with my starter fighting a Blastoise? Oh. Win! Yay! Somehow I'm not surprised. Across all 4 Generation 1 games, I had 18 Pokemon faint. Nearly half of those came from Green alone. Meanwhile, in the 3 Generation 2 games, I nearly tripled that death count, racking up the amount to 48 across the series. Ugh. Well, not a great track record, but at least I survived. This entire video, if it wasn't obvious, was a bit of a process, but I survived. Yeah, what a glowing review. I survived Generation 2 of Pokemon and never have to see it again. For a while.